Never. And if they do pull him out, they're gonna be in for a rude awakening. It's gonna not gonna be good because there's a reason why Packard, Peterbilt, Kenworth will not let that driver out of that seat. Because in that report from Kershire Group, the one that caught my eye the best is they're talking about I think they talked to Packard and they asked Packard why won't you let that driver out? And Packard says because we have to build a truck from the ground up, an entire new truck with 2 braking systems and 2 steering systems because of latency. They have a thing called fallbacks. When the internet disconnects from the truck, that truck is driving blind. This is 80,000 pounds, up to 80,000 pounds. You know, a brick wall driving down the freeway with nobody behind the wheel. They have to have a backup plan in case the computer system fails, in case of latency, in case of fallback, in case an actuator goes out, in case sensors go out. They have to have 2 systems running, and they don't have that truck yet. So, for some reason, I don't know why, but Aurora and Kodiak, they go with Packard for their companies. That was both of their mistakes, in my opinion. In my opinion, this was a huge mistake because Packard won't let them take the driver out of that seat, right? Aurora tried. Aurora did a week or two where they took that driver out, and Packard basically told them, "What the hell are you doing? We did not agree to that. You are not putting our name in risk at all. Because if something happens and that truck kills somebody, we're going to get sued because obviously the truck isn't made for this stuff. We have to have 2 systems, 2 brake systems, 2 steering systems. And these trucks don't. So you doing this is highly dangerous and we're not going to be liable for it." So now Kodiak and Aurora are racing to find a different manufacturer, a different truck company to let them take the driver out. Why? Because they have to take the driver out because they need more money, right? Kodiak recently pulled 33 million of their shares and sold them, right? A lot of these, I forget what it's called, but it's when their first investors invested, they sold their stocks off, and then uh, some of their stocks they owned, they pulled in about 200 plus $1 million. I think 100 plus went to the investors that bought in. To me, that's a sign like wink, wink. Time to get out of this, guys. We don't know how long it's gonna go. And then 100 million goes to run Kodiak. They burn about 35 to 38 million dollars a quarter. They make 1.8 million dollars a quarter. So you could just do the math. You got what, 3.5, 4, 5 quarters left of business. Aurora, the same thing. Same thing. They sold shares, made 14 million off those shares. Aurora burns way more money. They burn like 250, $200 million every quarter. They only make $1 million a quarter. These companies do not make any money at all, right? And they both got on the stock market through SPAC companies. We went over that on the last video, on the video about Aurora. So it's time to put up or shut up. And they're both racing. It's funny because they both started differently. Aurora started with cars that failed. They went to trucks, and then with Packard, told them no on the driver list. Kodiak went a different route. They went to hide in the oil fields, a lot smarter than Aurora, so nobody could see what they're doing over there. But they both know that the money is in over the road. Nobody gives a shit about anything else but over the road. Everybody knows that over the road that's where they need to get rid of the driver to make money. Well, they're both stuck in the same spot. They're both saying they're going to go driverless by the end of 2026, and they're both stuck with PACCAR. So I think Aurora is going with Volvo. Volvo said they will let them do it. I guess Volvo has a new autonomous truck. I don't know if they built it like Peterbilt said or whatever, but Volvo will work with Aurora. I'm not sure about Kodiak. Um, and then there's another company, Wabi. Wabi's are interesting, very interesting, because she's a part of the class of 2018 Uber. She was another top level prodigy, computer scientist, professor, you name it, top genius in AI and self-driving. She worked at Uber too during all this time, 2018. She was a part of it. Ain't that funny how they all come from there? She starts her company, Wabi, I think in 2020. But she goes to Canada. I think she's the smart. She's pretty smart because she knows it's a scam too, right? She knows it's a scam. They all know it's a scam. They all know this shit's not gonna work. They have to. They have to know. They're not that stick. They're not stupid. If me, a dumb truck driver, if Kershire group could figure it out, they figured it out a long time ago. They know how this shit works. They make the shit. Well, she goes to Canada, starts Wabi, and she basically she looks at Kodiak and Aurora. It's like, I'm not gonna do what they're doing. That's stupid. And she makes an AI world with the AI truck and just runs the AI truck in the AI world. Not one truck, not one car in real life. And she's been running it since 2020. And then recently, she's gotten $1 billion in investments. $1 billion with not one truck in real life. Like, are you talking about, like, this is the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my life? Like, this is almost unbelievable, like, cartoon level, like, stupidness. She goes to investors and shows them a video, which there's no way to figure out if the video is even real because it's her video. And she shows them the video like, oh, I made an AI world where it's so realistic, right? Driving situations, pedestrians, freeways, cities, you name it. It's like GT, whatever. Uh, and she has AI vehicles running in the AI world. And she shows investors this thing and they hand her over $1 billion. Like, what world are we living in where you can just produce a video, real or not, show it to investors, tell them your plan, and they hand you over $1 billion? Like, smart. She's smart. Fucking Hail Mary here, and it worked. Well, she now is joining the race. The exact same race. They're all bottlenecked at the exact same place. She's recently oh, and that's another thing. That's another thing. She hired Lior. She hired one of the 4 engineers, one of the 4 original scammers. She hired him to be the COO. He left Uber to work for her. So now we have the 3 top AI trading companies are literally from the 4 engineers that scammed everything. Like, they scammed to start this. I mean, obviously it's a scam, right? She now is in Texas. I think she's running at least 1 truck. Uber loads. She's partnering with Uber. Uber swore they would never get into self-driving again, and now they're back in. Right? She worked at Uber. Lior worked at Uber. Now they have their own company, and Uber's with them. She's hauling Uber loads from Dallas to Houston. If you're a trucker, you know Dallas to Houston's a crap load. It pays crap. Nobody even wants them. Anyway, she has a PACCAR, just like everybody else, with a safety driver in there. She was on CNBC recently saying that she's waiting on Volvo. As soon as she gets her Volvo trucks, they'll be driverless too. I think she's waiting for Aurora and Kodiak to fail. And she's going to pick up their torch and run that scam after them. That's my guess. That's totally my guess. She's a little sneaky one. She's funny. She makes me laugh because she did things way differently, but she ended up in the exact same place as the other two. Because there is no escape. You have to put up or shut up. You have to go into real life eventually. And she's doing the same exact thing as those two guys, as Aurora and Kodiak. I'm gonna have to make some predictions here because that's the only thing I can do. I can guess what's gonna happen next. The next move. Aurora and Kodiak especially are racing to take the driver out. They have to have a different truck manufacturer let them sign off on the liability that if something bad happens, they won't get sued. They take the full blame. PACCAR won't do that. They will not do that because they're not stupid. They're a 100-year-old business. They're Peterbilt and Kenworth. They're not stupid. They're an American company. They're gonna be around for a long time. So they're gonna race to take the driver out. If they don't take the driver out, if they don't pull this stunt by some miracle, if they have to pull this stunt off, I think they're gonna pull it off because Aurora already tried, and they did it for a week. But what they don't tell you is that there's remote drivers. There's people watching these vehicles far away, miles away. All these self-driving vehicles, Waymo, Zooks, Aurora, Kodiak. I'm guessing Wabi too, because they all do the same thing. They have humans watching the trucks, and they take over when needed. Okay, so my guess is they're gonna pull the stunt off. If they don't pull the stunt off, they're gonna go out of business fast. So they have to pull the stunt off of taking the driver completely out, but the truck will be tethered and watched by a remote driver. That's what's gonna happen. If they don't pull it off, they will go out of business much faster because nobody's gonna invest in it more. They're like, we already invested in you. You already tried and you couldn't do it. But if they pull the stunt off, they'll get more investors. They'll make headlines. They'll get a media buzz, and they'll keep running for another year until the reality of the situation, the latency, the fallbacks, the territory proves that they're not going to be able to do it. But that's my prediction. They're going to pull the stunt off, get more money, and run another year. If they don't pull the stunt off, there's a possibility that something bad will happen if they try the stunt. That's why PACCAR won't let them. So there's another possibility if they pull the safe driver out and they get into a wreck, that's gonna be really bad, really bad. Like it's over if that happens. If they don't pull the stunt off, they don't got much time left. A year, year and a half, till they're out of business. If they pull it off, 2 years to 36 months. That's my prediction. And then after that, Wabi takes the torch and runs the same scam as long as she can. Until, I don't know, people realize that this shit's never going to work. You know, there's a reason why Google gave up on autonomous trucking. Like back in 2018 or something, they gave up on it. They're like, this ain't going to work. There's a reason why these self-driving cars are only in cities and towns. Because the internet connection is much stronger in a city. The speeds are much slower, so if the connection gets severed, the impacts, the accidents won't be as bad. The car is much smaller. Yeah, like you can see why. You can use deduction to see what's going on. Yeah, Google gave up on a self-driving truck years ago, almost 10 years ago. And they're not even trying to do a self-driving truck because they know it's not going to work. At least Google's not scammers in that way. I think they just realized that It's much easier if they would just build a car themselves instead of trying to use a Hyundai or a Toyota or a Kia and slap their crap on it and try to make it work. Now they're going to try to make their own vehicle that matches their software and their hardware. That's why you see the new Waymo car, you see the Zoox little buses. Yeah, that's where they're going. Um, I would say that's where we're going. It's still, Waymo could do this all day long because they got the Google money. Zoox can do this all day long because they're owned by Jeff Bezos, Amazon. It's the Aurora, Kodiak, and Wabi that are on their own. They're just these scientists that probably figured out a long time ago that this shit's never gonna work. Their life's work is pointless, so they team up with Wall Street and run a scam. That's my video, guys. We'll take another look at maybe we'll take another look at Wabi because that one's interesting too.